I'm Ken, and you're watching Kilt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. Last week was St. Paddy's Day, next week is Easter, this week, nothing. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to combine both holidays into one special dessert dish. We're going to make a brownie covered Cadbury egg. It's going to be called a Sweet Scotch Egg. You don't know what a Scotch Egg is? That's fantastic. You're about to find out.
Oh, I'm so excited to do this dish. Scotch eggs are a delicious dish that wraps a soft boiled egg in sausage that is then breaded and deep fat fried until it is amazing. You've never seen it on this show because deep fat frying is difficult to do at home, as is creating a soft boiled egg. Here though, we'll be making the dessert using the same idea. We'll make a brownie, break it apart, use a buttercream frosting to bind it back together, and then wrap that concoction around a Cadbury Cream Egg and coat it with hazelnuts. It'll be decadent and amazing, and this video is so rife with errors that you'll have no excuse because you'll be like, well, Ken did everything wrong, so I can do everything right. Alright, I'm going to take you through how to make brownies and buttercream frosting from scratch. But frankly, if you want to save time, you just go buy these at your local grocer for next to nothing. Alright, we'll start by making our brownies. Preheat your cooker to whatever's on the box, and we'll get to assembling our ingredients. Now you need a mixer. I bought a lousy $10 stand mixer with a bolt, but you can use one of those electric hand mixer thingies. That's also very useful. Empty out the drowned brownie mix, some water, a wee bit of oil, and then crack a couple of eggs. That's how simple brownies are to make. Now after checking that it's turned off, I'll add my beaters onto my mixer and lower it into the bowl and then turn it on. Make sure you don't get that order mixed up. Off, beaters, lower, on. Otherwise you get a huge mess. Scrape the sides of your bowl with a spatula just to make sure everything blends proper. After a wee bit of time, all your ingredients are going to look like they're blended. At this point, you can pretty much just turn off your blender. And then just pop it out of the batter. And then let your beaters just drip into the batter. Alright, I'm using a disposable 8x8 pan, which makes my brownies thicker and takes longer to cook. In hindsight, I recommend a larger pan that takes less time to cook. Use that same spatula to scrape out your bowl. While we all love licking the bowl and the beaters and the spatulas, we need as much of that batter as we can to make our brownies. We didn't know how much we're going to need because it depends on how many eggs we want. Clean up as you go because you're going to want to make frosting later. Put it in the cooker for however long the box says. To make our frosting, I'm going to add 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Now, you'll have to forgive the slight out of focus of this next shot. It doesn't last very long. I'm terribly sorry about that. Add your beaters in, like last time. Sometimes you have to fidget around to get it right. And turn it on. Alright, start blending it until you have a nice whipped butter quality, and then slowly start adding in your sugar a cup at a time. We use a total of 3 cups of sugar, so that's 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 3 cups of powdered or confectioner's sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 full tablespoon of vanilla extract. At this point you can really see how hard my poor mixer has to work. Oh, there we go, in focus. Perfect. Alright, add a wee bit of milk and cream or almond milk just to give yourself some texture, flavour, and make it easier to blend together. I use almond milk because, well, I forgot to buy regular, and it's in my house for protein shakes. Scrape the edges and then turn it off. Give it a taste. Oh, it's good. Stick it in your fridge so it has time to firm up. Normally, when you pull brownies out of the cooker, you stick a toothpick in the middle to see if it's done, but I didn't want it to be totally done. I like my brownies gooey. In hindsight, make sure your brownies are fully cooked. Now I'm going to roast a handful or so of shelled hazelnut. I put it in the cooker at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And that's what they look like roasted. Now I want to take some of that husk off, so let's roll it onto this cutting board. And that's way too hot. I didn't let it cool. That was my mistake. We're just going to do it one at a time. But that's very boring, so we're just going to skip. We'll skip to the interesting bits. The bit where I mash nuts with a hammer. Oh, I love doing this. It's a great stress reliever. Better than any therapist's office, that's for sure, and a lot cheaper too. Alright, mince it till it's nice and fine. Change your playlist, because it's always nice to cook with music. and make a nice, finely chopped bit of hazelnut and set it aside for a tick. Peel the aluminium off our eggs, quick as you can. And we'll just edit this part because it's boring. And now it's time to make our coating. Alright, we got our brownies, we got our nuts, and we go to our fridge, and there's our frosting. Let me show you how badly I botched this, fixed it, and how you can do better. Alright, I cut out about half of my brownies. Scrape along the edges, make sure nothing sticks. Take out a spatula, and then just scoop it out onto a plate. As you can already tell, this is very gooey. At this point, I didn't really need to add the frosting, but I did. The frosting really works better on colder brownies that are fully cooked. As it is, I get a nice lovely goopy mess that doesn't adhere like it should. Still, I tried to blend it all together because I was following a recipe, and sometimes that can botch the whole deal. In this case, the heat from the brownies is causing the butter and the frosting to separate, which makes it blend improperly. So I soldier on with my hand to try and make a uniform ovoid shape. It doesn't work very well. And try to roll it, and then I just roll it into the hazelnuts. Okay, well that wasn't too bad. Well, we'll do it again. Make kind of a rolling motion. And then just stick it into the hazelnuts. We're going to do this a few more times. And I'm not going to show you all of it, because frankly, it's kind of boring, and I really did a bad job with this. But you'll find out that sometimes even when you make mistakes, you can make an amazing dish regardless. Now these things are quite ugly. I'm going to pop them in the freezer for a few so that the frosting will harden a wee bit and will bind better to the egg and mould easier. Now after that was finished, I played around with the batter for a wee bit because let's not kid ourselves, that's basically all this is. When it had cooled down a wee bit, I thought, well, if I spread out a layer of it with a spatula and then stick an egg on top of that, I could just use the spatula to kind of mould the batter around my egg. And it just kind of coats a wee bit more evenly. And I didn't have to get my hands dirty. And I could just sprinkle some hazelnuts on the top, like so. And then I can just scoop it up, in form of a pincher. And then just stick that in the freezer. Alright, and there you have it. And after a few minutes in the freezer, everything is so much easier. I cut off the excess, and then I smooth out the edges. And I do this a few times with each egg, so that each egg looks better than it was. Because I don't know if you could tell earlier, these things looked terrible. Now, they still look like dog turds, but they look like tasty dog turds. And there you have it, a very tasty looking Scotch egg. Now this would have been much easier if I had used a fully cooked brownie that had been allowed to cool, but if you look at the end result, even my own messed up variation winds up looking amazing, and trust me, it tastes delicious. It's very rich, you cannot eat much of it at a time, but it's quite tasty. I hope you're catching a running theme here. I didn't want to be that cooking show where everything is done perfectly, because when you cook, you'll wind up having all kinds of mistakes, if you're like me, and I'm assuming you are. If you're not like me, then oops, well, I'm alone. But if you're like me and you make mistakes, you want to see a cooking show where things aren't perfectly done and you see what mistakes can be made and how to fix those mistakes. And sometimes you want to hear that even when you make mistakes, everything is going to be alright. So let me just tell you right now, everything is going to be alright if you make a mistake. Especially if it winds up tasting good. You're watching Kilt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. I hope you had a happy St. Patty's Day, and I hope you have a fantastic Easter.